What's up, guys? We're back again today with another great video, and in today's video we're actually going to be working on the Highlander again. We got something really cool from our good friends over at Cartrimhome. As you guys know, they've sent us 90% of the stuff we've done to the Highlander, and it's really cool stuff because it's all plug and play and super easy for anybody to be able to do. So one cool thing too also in this video, I actually got a new GoPro, which is what I've filmed all my videos on this channel for the whole time I've had it. So we went from a Hero 8 all the way up to a 13. So hopefully the footage is looking a little bit more clear for you guys and a little bit better. I'm kind of messing with the settings right now, so if it don't look the best right now, we will adjust and make it better moving forward. But let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to be working on today. So one thing that's really cool that Cartrimhome has done, and I've actually already unboxed it for you guys, is this is actually a little light. So in a lot of cars they have like Footwell lights, like where your feet and stuff are. These are actually going to plug and play, and what's really cool is they actually snap in and you don't have to drill holes or do anything like that to the Highlander to make these work. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the install. Alright, so as you guys can see, you're actually going to get 4 lights. So you're going to have 2 go to the driver's side and 2 on the passenger side. And then here is our harness that makes it plug and play. And we're actually going to tap in underneath the steering wheel. And you guys have saw that in the past videos where I believe our heads-up display plugged in there, and we've actually had to plug in the heated steering wheel there where we have the carbon fiber steering wheel on the Highlander. So the same spot as last time, we're going to go to the same place, and that's where this will hook in at and make all the lights work. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to unlock the car, and I'll show you guys the tools we need to go ahead and get that started, because we're going to have to pop that console off to go ahead and plug in our harness. Also, another thing that's going to be different with this camera is the audio, so please bear with me on that. We'll make sure we get all these settings straightened out. So now that we're inside the car, what we're going to need to do is we'll actually turn it on for a second. That way we can turn the steering wheel to get to all the screws, so we can pop this plastic trim off like we've done in a bunch of other videos, like I said before. So the only thing you're going to need for this video tool wise is a I believe this is a 5/16 nut driver. 8mm will be very close, and then a Phillips head screwdriver. You can also use this Phillips head down here where we're going to use the nut driver, but it'll just make it a lot easier to have this or a socket with a ratchet or whatever you guys want to use. Again, this is on the interior, so you don't have to really crank it down a lot because it's plastic, so you don't want to break any of that. And then the other thing that I'm going to use too is I've got a packing blanket down here on the ground, just because I'm going to be on my knees right here, and the hard concrete and all that. So let's go ahead and we'll turn the steering wheel left and right, and there's going to be screws behind here that we're going to loosen up so we can pop this loose. Alright, so here is your first one right here. Your second one's going to be right there, and then there's one right down here. So you're going to take those 3 screws out, and then you'll be able to pop this loose. Also, they send a pry tool as well that you'll also be using. So what you can actually do right here is you can actually just kind of push in with your hand, and it'll pop these loose on either side, as you can see right here. And then I like to take the pry tool and just go right in between right here, and it'll pop this one loose, as you guys can see right there. And then you'll do the same thing over here. Just put that pry tool in right there, and of course you're using plastic, so you're not going to mar up anything. And then you can flip this up, and then this piece will come down. Alright, so now that you've got your plastic popped up, and I just slid this one out, and it's actually sitting right here on the floor. What we're going to do is it's going to be the plug right here behind the yellow one. This is the one you're going to want to take out and use. We're actually, this one may look a little bit different than your guys's because we're actually already using this harness for something else that we've installed in the past, and I cannot remember what it is right now that this is running to. So it's basically a piggyback harness which allows stuff to be plug and play. So we've got our new harness right here for the Footwell. So what you'll do is you'll plug this in, and then you'll plug your factory one, or if you have the heated steering wheel like I do accessory, you'll plug this in here. Because as you guys know, we have the XLE, so it didn't come factory with a heated steering wheel, so I actually added this carbon fiber steering wheel in here from Cartrimhome, and they actually sent us this harness which allows us to have a heated steering wheel in this one, since it didn't come factory with one, and our heated steering wheel button's right here rather than it being up on the steering wheel. So that's why mine's a little bit different. But again, your guys's, this will just be a factory harness that you'll unhook right here. You'll put this harness in. Here's the harness right here. You'll put this harness in, and then you'll plug in your factory one right here, and everything will work like normal. There won't be any issues at all. All right, so as you guys can see, this is what it's going to look like when you're done. You've got it plugged in up here. It's coming down, and now we've got our factory one plugged in right here. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to zip tie these up nice and neat. That way our plastic trim will go back around it. And then this is going to be the wire that's going to feed the power to our lights that we're going to put underneath on each side. They also sent some zip ties for this as well, so you may want to get some wire cutters or something. That way you can cut the zip ties really nice and neat. And we're just going to follow, as you guys can see, your factory harnesses run down right here, and this is the exact same way we're going to follow. And then we'll put two, as you guys can see right here, you'll have two power connectors that you'll leave on the driver's side, and then you'll put two, and we'll run those over across to the passenger side to give those power over there. So I'm going to go ahead and try to clean this up a little bit, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so we've got it all nice and zip tied up right here, as you guys can see. And I've got a lot of other additional stuff right here, but so your guys' wires might not be as much as mine, but you can see we've got it nice and clean all the way down through here. And you just want to stay away from any of this area right in the middle of your steering wheel, because that's what's going to move, you know, like when you're using your lever back and forth. And then also you just kind of want to keep it away from your steering wheel right here, because obviously this has got to rotate, you know, left and right for you to turn. So now that we've got it zip tied back in here, we really shouldn't have to zip tie too much more, because pretty much these lights are going to be laying right in there, and there's really not going to be anything moving that could grab them. We will zip tie probably a little bit just to make it nice and clean, but other than that, this is pretty much what you got to do to keep it out of the way of your steering wheel. So now we're going to move to the next part, which is underneath here. I know it's kind of dark inside the car, but right here is going to be one screw, and there's going to be another screw on this side right here. And then there's two little plastic tabs that you're going to pop out, and then this whole panel will come down, and that's where our lights are going to go. So I'm not going to feed any of this wire in just yet until I know exactly where the lights are going to be at. There is a driver side and a passenger side. It's pretty easy to tell that just because one side's a lot longer, because it's got to run over there. So we got our 5/16 nut driver, and we're just going to go in right here, as you guys can see. And these are not too tight at all. I believe we've already got our first one, so there's what that looks like. We're just going to put them right here for now. We've got our other one right over here. I know it's kind of dark in here. I'm going to get it out. And so there's that one. And again, if you don't have a 5/16, closest thing will be an 8mm to that. So now we can pop this off right here, and you may have, it sounds like we're going to have some change in here. So now that we've got this, I'm actually going to use both of my hands, because it looks like the OBD2 reader right here is wanting to come with it. So let me use both my hands and get this popped out so I can show you guys exactly what you need to do. So actually there is 3 screws under, or 3 of the 5/16 nuts underneath here. There's another one right here that's holding it in, and once we get that, we should be able to pop it loose. All right guys, so once you get your panel down to right here, your OBD2 reader is still going to be in it. So you'll face it towards you like this, and you can actually take their plastic pry tool they gave you, and just push on one of these triggers on the side, and it'll slide right out. So it'll stay in there just like that, and then now you got your trim piece out that we need to put the lights in. All right, so now we've got our driver's side panel fully out. Now we'll go to our passenger side, and I'll show you guys how to pop that one out, and then we'll go ahead and start placing the lights on there. All right guys, so as you can see, here is the passenger side panel, and as you can see, it's actually got 4 clips. There's one right there, 2, 3, and then 4. The only thing you got to do is just reach down and just push those tabs in, and then pop down on all 4 of those. And then what you'll do is as you guys can see, there's these long pieces here. They actually slide into the back like this. So once you get those popped downward, your panel will be kind of like this, and you'll just slide it forward, and then you'll have it down. All right, so I got both my panels laid out right here. This is the passenger side one, and I was kind of messing with it a little bit. And as you guys can see, there's kind of these circle clips here and here. And what's cool is these lights will actually clip into those spots. And if you notice, then they'll shine out right here. So what I'm gonna do on the passenger side is I'm actually gonna clip these in here, one right there, and then one right here, because this is your front piece right here, and that's the back side of it. So I'm gonna put one in right here and one in right here, and I'm gonna just see how that looks when it gets dark tonight. I just want to make sure there's not a shadow in the middle. I want to make sure it lights up the hole underneath really good. If it doesn't, then maybe what I'll do is I'll do the same thing that I'm going to do to this one, and I'm actually going to use some 3M tape, and we're actually going to stick them to the bottom of this right here. And then that way we can kind of put them exactly where we want them at. This panel's a little bit harder because, as you guys can see, it's a lot skinnier, and also you've got these holes here where your air for your feet is blowing through for your air conditioning. On this one, I'm probably going to try to go somewhere like right in here, and then stick another one like right in this area. That way they're kind of equally in the middle. That's why I'm worried a little bit about these being so far spread out that there might be a shadow in the middle. We may need to move one. And then the other option I was going to tell you guys about is what you could do is you could actually find a drill bit that's the same size hole as the light right here. And as you guys can see, there's actually a little bit of a lip on the light, so you could pop it through and it'll kind of lock itself in. And also you could put some 3M tape right here. But what I was going to say is you could flip this over, you could drill that hole anywhere on here that you wanted it to be, and then you could literally just put that, you know, put it right in that hole to where the light's shining through, and then this actual box would be hidden behind your panel. So that's kind of a cleaner way to do it. Like I said, you're never really going to see underneath here. You should never really notice these lights being underneath there because they are still pretty low profile. But if I have an issue with the 3M tape falling off, I'll give you guys an update in a couple months. If the 3M tape's falling off, then I'll probably go ahead and I'll drill these holes, and I'll show you guys how to do that then. But if the 3M tape works, there's no need to drill holes in your panels. All right, so I got my passenger side set up now. So as you guys can see, I've got this one to where the wires are running this way and they're going to have to loop back around. And I've actually got this one the same way. I put them in both ways, and it seems like if you put them in like this, the light is kind of tilting more towards the center, which is where I'm worried that there's going to be kind of a shadow at. So if you put them in like that, it kind of naturally is making the lights kind of tilt more to the inside, which again, this is where I'm worried that we're not going to have coverage underneath the car because they are so far spread out. So I'm going to try them like that first, and I'll let you guys know. I'll show you some videos and some pictures of what it looks like at nighttime and how it looks. All right, so one thing you're going to want to do before we use the 3M tape on this is just take some rubbing alcohol and just wipe where you're going to put it at, because there could be residue. Plastic is always kind of got a little bit of oil in it anyway, so you'll get that off. That way you can stick it really good. On these, what I'm going to do is, this is the 3M tape that I'm using right here. It's actually the 3M brand. Get the name brand stuff on this, that way it'll stick really good for you. As you can see, the center of the light's kind of hollow, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start the tape either at this end or on the edges and wrap it all the way around. That way the tape's kind of grabbing the sides too, and not just these little bitty ledges on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this off, and I'll stick it on, and then we'll be ready to mount the panels back. All right, so now we've got them mounted up, as you guys can see, and I've got the lines going right in there and right in there. Again, this is where your duct for your AC comes out at, and there's actually a pretty good gap in between there, and it'll also kind of help hold the wires in there nice and tight. That way they're not moving either. This is really the only flat surface that was good to stick them on. I was thinking about sticking them farther back to kind of hide them a little bit better, but if you do that, the plastic's kind of angled and it's going to shoot your light back, so back towards your pedals and stuff, and not really up out here. So that was the only thing I was worried about on that. That's why I went so far forward. Let's go ahead and let's get our power ran to the opposite side. As you guys can see right here, I kind of laid these out, and you can tell this one's going to be the driver's side because the plug-in part's a lot closer than on the side. As you guys can see, this got to go to the passenger side. The way I'm going to run this, I've kind of already looked at it, and you can actually see, so here's your gas pedal. If you go just right above it right here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, can't tell, but you can see straight across to your passenger side. So this is where I'm going to run it at, and what'll be good is I can run my wires down right behind this piece of plastic right here. That way there's no chance it's going to get, you know, in the way of the pedal, because it can all be tucked in behind here. One thing on this that you guys will need that'll really help is actually one of these metal tapes. Some people call them snakes, metal tapes. It's just meant for running wires. You can get them at Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. That really helps when you're running wires like this. If you don't have one of these, what you could do is, if you have a wire coat hanger, like one of the metal cheap wire coat hangers, just undo it and stretch it out straight, and you could use that for this, because you're really not running that far across. That's what me and my dad used to use before we got one of these tapes. All right, so now we've got our wire tape right here, and like I showed you guys, that's where we're going through at. So now we're just going to take some electrical tape or painter's tape, just tape this end to right there, and then just pull it right back across. So we're over here on the passenger side. We've got our wire coming through here. Like I said, we've got both of these here. One thing that's nice is they do give you plenty of wire, so that's a really good thing. You don't have to worry about not having enough wire to get over here where you need, or if it's, you know, there's plenty, which normally is not the case. Normally brands give you barely enough to get over here and do all your connections and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the farthest one, so the one over coming farthest on the harness, and I'm going to hook it into this side, because this is going to be the light that's going to be here. And then the one that's kind of a Y, like this right here, I'm going to hook it in to the closest one right there. And then what we'll do with this extra wire is we'll zip tie it all up, and I'll put it up here. I may even use this center one that we're not using and run a zip tie around that, and then just kind of bundle the wire up right here. That way it's never seen, and it'll kind of keep it up and nice out of the way, and it'll keep it from rattling, like if you're hitting bumps and stuff going down the road. Because if you leave this wire loose up in here, it'll bounce too, and you could hear it clicking while you're driving. All right, so here's what it looks like all cleaned up right here. As you can see, we've got it nice, all the wire nice and cooled up. Zip tied it all together, and then I actually zip tied it around this center knob right here. That way it can't really move. Leave yourself enough lead right here. That way if you ever want to take this down again, you'll have enough room to take it all the way down. Just make sure when you're putting these up in there, you don't pinch these wires. All right, so same thing over here on the driver's side. Your one longest lead away, you're going to put on this side, and the one that looks like a Y, you're going to put closer over here. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just try to clean it up the best I can. We'll probably lay the coil of wire like right up in here somewhere, or I may zip tie it to this other factory harness going down right here. That way, again, it's not bouncing around up here. All right, so on this one, I actually ran the wires up back through here, and I had the wires right here, and I coiled them up tight, zip tied them together. And as you guys can see, I kind of pulled the slack up and zipped it to the harness right here. That way it's keeping everything tight, so these cannot fall down, because you never want wires around your brake pedal or gas pedal ever. That could cause an accident. But as you guys can see right here, you can kind of see it laying across right there. That is the wires that there you go, you guys can see it right there. That's the wire I zip tied all the extra wire up together, and I kind of tucked it over there in the corner next to that factory harness that's in the white right there. And I zip tied it around the factory harness right there, so that way it can't fall down either. So now the only thing we got to do is put this back together, which is super simple. I can show you guys. right here really quick. So you'll take and you'll put your bottom cover back on. And this might take me 2 hands to do, but just pop it up, and again, just make sure that none of your harnesses or anything are in the way right here on the side. But you're just going to push this up and around right here. You'll pop this one over. You'll snap your 2 sides together, because I'm going to have to use both hands. You'll snap both sides together, and then you'll turn your car on left, right, put your 1, 2, and then your 3rd screw in down here at the bottom. And then everything is put back together, and we're ready to show you guys the finished product. All right, so we've got everything buttoned back up. I'll show you real quick kind of what they look like right now. As you guys can see, they're all working currently. You can kind of see it on the phone, in the glare of the phone right here. One thing that's cool about these is I actually had to turn the lights on for them to come on right now. Obviously, we normally leave in auto, so that's one thing that's really cool about the way they have these wired up, is they won't be on during the daytime and wasting, you know, because bulbs only going to last so long, so it's not going to waste you know, time of the light being used being on all the time. They're only going to come on when your headlights are on. All right guys, so that is pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I would give yourself probably 45 minutes to an hour to do this install. Obviously it took me a little bit longer because I was filming for you guys, but again, just make sure you guys have all the supplies you need before you start. You know, get you some extra zip ties in case you need them. It comes with some. Get you some of that 3M tape, and then get obviously a wire coat hanger, or if you guys already have like a wire snake, go ahead and grab that. That way you guys have all your supplies ready for when you're going. Again, you'll need that small screwdriver and the nut driver. I can't remember the size right now. I'll pop it up down in the bottom. But make sure you guys have those as well. And then it comes with a pry tool you'll need, and then you'll need some wire cutters, or you could even use scissors or whatever to cut your zip ties with to make them nice and clean looking. But again, make sure you give yourself roughly about 45 minutes. Really easy install. Any of you guys can do this. Don't be scared to take apart, you know, your console where your steering wheel is and everything. I've done it so many times on that car. Not a big deal at all. The panels snap back in perfect every time. Never had an issue with it. So don't worry about that. Just your main concern is make sure that none of those wires get around your steering wheel where you're turning, and make sure nothing is going to fall down on like near your feet while you're driving. Once you do that, everything will be good, and it'll be an easy install and a safe install for you guys. But again, thank you to our good friends over at cartrimhome for sending this out. Without them, a lot of these videos wouldn't be possible, so please make sure you go support them. I will leave a link in the description below for this product. And please go check out my Highlander playlist of a lot of their other products that they make. Maybe this is not for you, but they make a ton of really cool stuff for the Highlanders, and all of it's plug and play, super easy for you guys, and you can just check out the video and I show you a full step-by-step install on it. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. It's a really cool look for the car. We'll enjoy traveling a lot more at nighttime with it. It's just nice to kind of have the ambient light. I actually have some of those that I installed in the TC way back when. They're actually, that video is on the channel somewhere deep in the archives, but that was one thing I really thought was cool about the TC, is it having those in there. So again, I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe so I can keep doing this for y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, and remember, build your masterpiece.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change.